Welcome for another episode from the Critics Collective. We are still talking Love is Blind, Season 9, Episode 8, Stripping the Veil. And that's exactly what this episode is. I can't wait to get into it. Before I get into it, let's go ahead and make sure that we are subscribed. Notification bell is on. And in the comments, let me know what you're thinking about this show and the people that are involved in the show. And is there a season I should go back and watch that would bring me, I guess, the same enjoyment, if I can call it that. And then at the end, I'm going to go ahead and rate it. So I hope you guys like the format that we're doing now. It was kind of how the episode goes. It still kind of is, but now I'm trying to do it for each couple so that if there's a certain couple you like to kind of reminisce on or conversate about or hear me talk about, then you can get to that one. Before I jump into it, I do want to say the production's good. I'm really enjoying the sets and the situations they kind of set up for the team that are producing this, directing this, however you want to call it, the music, the B-roll footage. It doesn't matter if they're on site or not. They're basically always on site because those gold cups and goblets are everywhere. Just a note, if they would etch the logo on it or just something, I think it would stand the test of time / advertising. I know I've seen some bags of chips in certain scene. I'm like, I think that's an ad. But I've been enjoying that part. And the element of bringing in family and friends on this episode has been something that's cool. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, for our first couple is going to be Tony and Aly. Now, Tony and Aly, for the whole process, really, I think a lot of us have been like, hey, they're perfect, as they're the first ones to take the plunge in a way, or pre-plunge, by saying they want to get engaged. They basically had their number one, and it was each other early on, and we could see that. And though there was some questionable stuff, at least that I thought of, I've always thought of his eyes. Seems like that's really hiding, like everything is telling in his eyes, though he has a great poker face. Aly, how she's in tune with the universe and she's deeply in love and everything is there, and she's all in 100% from the jump. This episode was very different because what we saw what, at least what I saw or picked up on, was Aly wanting more of a more financial security. And what I mean by that is there was a comment about the ring, and I believe it was this couple where he had spent $5,000 for the ring, and it seemed like she wanted more. And that's, I mean, a lot of women and men, and agreeably so, would say that's a reasonable price, more than reasonable, to tie the knot and get an engagement ring or a wedding ring or anniversary ring or band. That's an investment for sure. And now, fast forward, she's talking about going to school, and they're talking about, hey, do you want to cook and clean? How do you want to do that? And I really thought this was the moment for us to see the flaws in the relationship, but more leaning towards Tony, where I expected Tony to do what the other guy's been doing, which is saying, yeah, you cook and clean, or we'll figure something else out. But no, it's not me. I felt like he was like, hey, whatever we need to do, we can cook together. You can cook and I can clean, or I can clean and we can cook. He was very non-traditional about that. And it caught me off guard. I just judged the book by its cover, honestly. And she said, yeah, I'll cook. And then she goes, what if I don't feel like cooking that day? And I was like, there it goes. It's the okey doke. As soon as she said that, I had told my wife, I was like, it's one or two things, right? It's either she doesn't want to cook, so she'll order out financially, or she's like, I'd be damned if I cook and clean. Like, that's not what this package is. And I think there was like a joke about a chef, and he thought it was a joke, or he was jokingly about it, and she was like, yeah, a chef. And so he was, I think, joking about like, hey, that's about 60, 100 hours a week I would have to do work wise. And she's like, okay, cool. So we're getting a chef soon. Like, get it done. And then she was like, hey, when I'm with my mom, she cooks or she cleans, and I got to focus on school. So I want to be stay at home. You got enough money to take care of both of us, right? And he's like, yeah, I do. He's like, Let's make sure that happens. And my Botox. Like she's just like at this point, it's all out. Or maybe the showrunner was like, this has always been happening. You guys just never saw it, and we're just gonna give it to you. And she brought up the accounts, like how the bank account's gonna go. And that's a different discussion for a different day as far as what the Dad Panther believes on that. But he wanted one bank account. She wants multiple bank accounts to themselves and then accounts that are together. And he goes, which I thought was reasonable. He didn't say no. He said, hey, let's talk. Help me understand it, explain it. Let's just talk about it. And her reasoning was, I don't want you to know how much I pay for Botox. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to cost this guy. And I don't know what he makes. So then he goes into wanting to get matching sweaters. He's like, let's go get some sweaters that say Mr. and Mrs. on it, getting ready to get married. And I was, again, shocked. I was like, it's not something you really see a guy doing. You're not near the holiday season, but it is a really good idea. It's a nice lovey-dovey mood type of thing to do. And she shoots it down. She's like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, but he doesn't know that she's not serious. So she basically is like, why are you weird? Almost like calling him a cornball for doing that. And he was like, I think it'd be something cool to do every blue moon. And she jumped in. No, not every blue moon. Once in a lifetime. Because we can't do any weird stuff. Like, she was like, why are you being weird? Tony, what's going on? Why are you, Antoine? Why are you, Antonio, whatever? Why are you being weird? And he's like, what do you, I'm not being weird. Yeah, you are. You're acting weird. And the only thing I can think of is the thing that would be weird to her is you're not saying you're going to financially take care of me. You're not making it where I don't have to do any chores. You're not doing the accounts the way I want. You're not giving me an upgrade of rings. What's going on here? This is weird to me. And I'm like, and you can see the look on his face, and he's like, beep, like, what do I do with this? And so he does a really good job of kind of switching. Every time the conversation got difficult, you never saw his tone change. He always switched the conversation. He let it breathe for a bit. Then he would switch the conversation to something like, let's go out, let's go do something. So I thought that was interesting. Now, towards the end of the episode, what we get with these two couples is they meet with their friends, which I think is interesting because there was no family members there. But he did explain that a lot of his family was in Ukraine and Russia. So I don't know if that's his immediate family, but that's the situation there. But when he sits down with his friend, one of his friends is a party guy, and all their conversation has been that friend is the party guy, that Tony doesn't indulge in any of that, but comes out that Tony did, and Tony is that guy. He's dialing. He's Mr. 305. You know what I'm saying? He out there doing it. A. And she did not like the sound of that. And the other thing that's also funny, if you're into karma, which is funny because Aly's character, I think, embodies the idea, or at least little nuggets of karma in the universe. Because like she'll look at what time it is, and she's like, it's 3:33, or the universe, or I had a dream about you. And so it's very interesting that Tony, who dropped a seed to Edmund about how he's not having sex with KB and how he feels and what he should do, which later on makes KB and Edmund have their issue that I think started something much bigger, and we'll see kind of what happened there. But it's funny because the girlfriend of the friend of Tony in the bathroom reveals about the possibilities of a strip club or bachelor party, stripping the veil, bachelor party, and that Tony was just in the partying just as much, where he even shut down a place that he was working just to drink and have a good time. And Tony did at that time say, hey, look, I was just chilling. I was just being young. I'm not like that anymore, but I was being young. I didn't tell anything about it because what's there to say? So she's at the table and she's like, yeah, we have to talk later, which is crazy that you would bring that up right there when they're sitting at the table with you. And he's like, what do you need to talk about? And, oh, we'll talk. He's like, why don't you tell me now? No, it's more private. Then it should have been fucking private. Don't come fucking up. I felt like they were eating some good ass food. Don't be fucking up the good food with the idea that I got to deal with some shit when I leave. Tell me later. Tell me later. We'll talk about it later. But speaking of later, we'll catch up with them on another episode. KB and Edmund. I thought it was a really good episode for them after kind of going viral, I think, for the last two episodes. With KB basically working in the same environment as Edmund. And what I mean by that is she works in child services. And so it's a community job. She's probably seen some things and understands what trauma does. So it makes sense why she probably sees some things and is able to navigate differently. From my personal experience, having family members or friends that work in that industry, it is a lot. You see a lot, similar to like first responders. You see a lot in your community or communities in general that you don't necessarily get to see. But hearing and seeing that makes sense. The mom showed me really kind of how Edmund, or where that emotion comes from Edwin. The mom did cry. The mom went to Ghana and is going to present beads to KB, and they're going to do something like that. And also letting us know that Ed has other family members who are married and who have moved on with their life doing that adult chapter, and that it's now time for Edmund. And also the mom not wanting to give Edmund up. I thought there was going to be an issue there, but she was like, "Yo, you're going to be his wife, and I give you my blessing, and I have to give blessing to myself and be okay with this." And so you got a chance to kind of see where there's that. But then there's also the situation with the pancakes and kind of how he was prepping that and going through that, where it was like, to me, a guy who loves to make pancakes, I do it every weekend. I was like, you're overstirring the batter. You got to focus on the pancakes. You got to get a like, I'm thinking that, and it's probably just edited differently. But so that was something interesting to see. Madison and Joe. Okay, so Joe, alcohol might not be his friend. We'll see, what comes up with that one. But Joe actually said sorry. I didn't think he was going to say sorry for what happened a night or two before, but he did. He owned it. There was some body language university. He didn't necessarily look her in the eyes fully. I'm more of a sincere, I'm sorry. Like, for instance, if I look right now, I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you're not subscribed to our channel, The Critics Collective. Hit the subscribe button, follow, notification bells on. That's me. But not everybody, does that way. But I noticed that. So what ended up happening is Madison put a ring on. I didn't really know she took it off, but she put a ring on it. If you like, you got to put your ring back on. And then they went to Joe's apartment. It's a movie. Maybe I'll review it. I remember the roaches. Joe. Anyways, so Joe's apartment looks like really typically any bachelor pad that's there, so it was cool to see that. And then it made me understand it better. I was thinking, and I think I said this in the last episode, I was thinking that the places that they're going were hotels that the team of the show had put together for them so they can live by themselves until they get married. But it's not, it's their actual home. So it's like, man, if this doesn't work out, you just brought somebody to your home, and then you're going to get judged by your home. You don't even get a chance to ease into it. It's just like, here's my house. And I'm sure they cleaned and prepped up before they left. But, and at this point, I think they've been gone for 3 or 4 weeks on this process. So anywho, it's a regular bachelor pad. So I thought it was interesting, but it also made me reflect on Tony's pad. Tony's pad is like in a high rise condo style. So obviously, it seems he's doing well for himself, but I watched Black Rabbit and Ozark, and those didn't tell me much. Anyways, moving on. Joe is different with his family. His family comes over because they all have family and friends, but their interaction, it was a completely different Joe. It's the Joe that at first made me think he could be that good guy until he saw her and didn't really give that kind of energy for it. And it also reassured him that Madison is the one he's in love with. So he said it, and he just looked completely different on camera and with his family. And so I hope this is what's good for Madison. I really hope that this is what it moves that energy towards what they're trying to do. So that's awesome. But I still think they're going to have some issues once that family goes, and there's some stuff they got to work on. But it's cool to hear that Madison wants to have kids. She's got her stuff together, and the family really liked Madison. I don't think we had anybody who didn't like the family members that they met, and I think they may meet more family members as the episodes continue. I don't know how many episodes and how this works. You have Annie and Nick. Wow, Nick. Like, I did not imagine your life, or at least he's got a fucking cabin in the woods that has a gorgeous setup. Now, I've been to Denver. It is a beautiful, beautiful place. Um, but man, he's got a beautiful cabin. He's got a great old school car. Like, you can tell by looking at someone's house and what their surroundings are, what they like, and kind of, what kind of person they are. That could be good or bad, but you can see that he's very athletic, outdoors, social, loves nature, loves the cold, and just it was really cool to kind of see that. And he was very proud to show that off. There was not a room or anything that he wasn't letting uh Annie go to and just kind of figure out what she wanted to see. So I thought that was really cool to see that. Now there was a sweater that was a little small, made me think a little something, but I'm not gonna go there. But that was that really changed my perspective of Nick, of seeing where he lives. And again, he's constantly chill, but emotionally intelligent chill. Not chill like, do whatever you want, I don't care, whatever. It's not like that. It's just like, how can I help you? How can I help us? Let's keep building this together. And there's something about that one. Now, Annie, I want to say, in my opinion, has another, I want to say, a little rough, shaky kind of day. She's talking about moving. She's like, I have the salon here and you live here, and how's this going to work? And Nick has already said on and off camera in front of her and everyone, like, hey, look, well, I'm going to stay with you. We'll figure out what we're going to do. I'll keep this house. I'm not going to sell it. We'll come here every now and then, or I might pop up here by myself. We're good. Don't worry about that. I'm not a city guy. It's not my thing, but I want to be with you and let's grow. And isn't that what you want to hear? If your partner says that, guy or girl, girl, guy, it doesn't matter. Goo gaga. But she takes, and just, it becomes one of those things where he's once again trying to reassure and trying to say, hey, look, I don't understand how where are we at right now. If I'm telling you I'm good, we can do this. You don't have to leave your business. And she's like, yeah, but I can see all your joy and everything you have here. And he's like, yeah, and I'm giving that up for you. Like, that's what you want, right? So like I said, I just thought, that's something. So we'll keep an eye on that one. And then Jordan and Meg W. Sidebar. There's a part. No, not even sidebar. I'll just go with it. Okay, so it again shows they're a good match. I mean, they look good together. Their family likes Jordan. There was the anniversary of Megan's dad, and she let everybody know that Jordan didn't handle it the way she thought. But hold on, but she told him, hey, look, it's a sad time. This is what I want. This is what I need. This is how my day goes for this situation. And Jordan was upset. Upset that she didn't say it sooner. And he was down on himself for not being prepared to handle that, as he now knows how big that is, not only for Megan, but for Megan's sister and her mom, respectfully. And wow, and that, I said that when I said those two would get together, I said it's going to be so good for her, like a cozy, warm, chill feel, to have someone that you can, and if you don't have to worry about like status, and again, the conversation with Mike and those kind of guys, if you're fine with just being comfortable and happy, this may be a good look for you. So it was really cool to see that. The conversation about having kids, uh, Jordan is like, yo, it's kind of like Jordan in real life. It's like, I retired from the game. I got a vasectomy, which is crazy. That came up at the dinner table. And he's like, I'll undo it. So it made me think like The Office, snip, nip, snip, nip, up, down. Like, and it's, so he's fine with the conversation if Megan's ready to have kids, and they all love to hear that, and that was good. Being a dad is still going to be a factor because he gets 50% visitation, but the child doesn't live with him. And so she won't get a chance to kind of not practice, but grow that relationship and see what's next for them as far as having kids. Now, on the sidebar, the sisters' pupils were fucking huge. I watched it and I even went back. I'm like, let me look at the mom. Let me look at Jordan. Let me look at Megan. Maybe the light, because she's facing the window. No, this doesn't make sense. Why are her pupils so huge? And I'm like, is that a thing? Is that like maybe just people have different sized pupils? And I don't know. Look at mine. Are they okay? I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. I feel like maybe I watched something recently that talked about pupils, and so now I'm like, their pupils dilated. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like that's what it is. Um, and then when they were talking about the passing of the father, respectfully, it was a deep conversation. Everybody's crying at the table except for Jordan, respectfully. And Jordan just wants to eat his fries. So there he's, if you look at it, he's like trying to take these moments of dipping it in the ketchup and eating the fries. And he's like, I'm here and I'm supportive, but this is this. He also got points, cool points from me as a dad. He asked for her hand in marriage from the mom and the sister. I did the same thing. I'm just old school like that, respect. And so respect is given there. Let's go ahead and review this episode. So we're talking about episode 8 of season 9, stripping the veil. It has been interesting thus far. Next episode, I don't even know what they could do next. They don't play any games. Literally, they just talk. And if I could say who's closer to not walking down the aisle, if I could say who I don't think is going to make it down the aisle, I don't think Joe makes it down the aisle. Madison, I don't think Tony and Aly make it down the aisle. And I was thinking Nick, but now I think he might be that guy. He might, there's some other stuff I'm not going to mention, but that might work. And Jordan, Meg, really hope that works. And KB and Edmund, who am I to think what somebody else needs? If they're happy, they're happy. And like they said before, they're going to work on stuff together. So yeah, I would rate this one a 4. It kept with the moving of the story, which is, are they going to do it? Can this work? Here's the elements of it. And it's a crazy experiment where I believe they have 15 days left. I don't know how many episodes are left in this show, but can't wait for episode 9. But it's crazy because when Tony and Aly meet Tony's friends, they're like, hey, we got together for like a month or so and moved in. So you doing this isn't too crazy for us. Like, we know some people see this and do this. And then even the conversation with Megan and Jordan, Megan's dad was love at first sight meeting Megan's mom and knew that's the one. So it was interesting to hear those conversations, and even some of them chiming in saying it's different from dating somebody and you live with them, move in, marry, or whatever you want to do. And then throughout your relationship, you find out these deep, significant conversations. They knew all of this at the jump. Like, friends would say stuff like, do you know that he almost got engaged? And I was like, oh shit, does he? And Joe just smiled. And Madison's like, yes, he told me. And so you're seeing who was open in some of those deep conversations. The other thing that's interesting is this would be a pretty cool game, whether you're a couple or not. I know you had those games about like getting to know somebody, or more sexy, kind of sexy time, very nice. But I think it'd be something if you could get a game where you get to play and you get to do this, whether you have that divider in between or not. Kind of like speed dating kind of thing. Like, can you imagine somebody get the game, organize it, and then you don't know the person and you see if you go for a real date 1, 2, or 3. I don't know. But what I do know is you could have been anywhere in the world and you chose to be here. Until next time, kalika allow.